Today we're tying the Red Death. It's one of my most successful flies. Bit of a variation on the Soldier Palmer. Now, Richard Walker would never talk about a fly until he'd caught at least 50 fish on it. Well, I'm happy to say the Red Death meets that criterion of his, and then some. The Red Death catches a lot of evening fish, usually when the trout are splashing after hatching sedges. Also, it's effective when the frenzy of the rise has died down and fish are just mopping up. You can fish it well treated and it'll float. You could even retrieve it and make it skate. If you hold back on the floatant, let the fly get a bit damp, its hackles will keep it in the surface like a trapped fly, and then fish will take it with a quiet confidence. Let's go through some of the things we'll need to tie the fly. The hook is an Umpqua U103. It's a bit heavy for a dry fly, but it has the long shank I want. The gold wire rib is Danville's, and I've put it on its own flared bobbin. Now the best natural dubbing is seal's fur. This is red seal's fur. For the body hackle, got this rather nice saddle hackle here, cock saddle, red-brown. And the head hackle is going to be a grizzle from the neck. The tools we're using. First of all, we have the black semperfi splitter thread on a right bobbin with the adjustable tension. Absolutely vital is the sharp scissors. Because we're winding hackles, we need the hackle pliers. This is the English model, so I was brought up with. And we're going to secure the head and the tail of the fly with Sally Hansen Harlow's Nails varnish. The whole thing is going to be held steady by the Dan vise. All these things are available at my website, smflyman.co.uk. Okay, let's get tying. Okay, secure the hook in the vise. Here's our black thread. Spider thread is fine and strong. It's a product from Semperfly that I like very, very much. Catch the thread in at the eye, wind down to the bend in touching turns. Snip off the waist thread. Now comes the Danville's gold wire. Catch it in at the end of the body. Secure with a couple of turns. Draw it through slightly. And then wind back to the eye of the hook in touching turns to really lash the wire down tight. The last thing you want is the wire to come out when you're winding it, because you can't go back to the bend of the hook. Okay, let me take the thread back to the bend of the hook. Now comes the seal's fur. Seal's fur is the best natural dubbing there is, bar none. This is red seal's fur, and as with all dubbing, less is more. So we put the pinch of dubbing up to the thread, spread it out a little bit, and then we spin between finger and thumb. Some people find this very, very tricky. Personally, I've never found any problems with it. It didn't even wax the thread. Okay, so we're winding forward. General principle is always to make the body a little bit thicker as you go forward. This carrot shape is quite sort of ubiquitous. Just a little bit more seal's fur, not too much, just enough to finish off the body. There we go. Now we're ready for the body hackle. Body hackle is taken off the red game saddle. Red game saddle is a nice colour, but it's also not too stiff a hackle for the body. Well, this fly is going to fish more or less in the surface of the water rather than on it. And to help us wind the body hackle, we're going to use the hackle pliers. Some people just try and use their finger and thumb, but hackle pliers mean you can let go if you really want to or need to. I can see this hackle is trying to spin on me. Doesn't really matter. If you're a purist, then obviously you would reset the hackle. Take the body hackle in open turns to the end of the body. And now we're going to use the fine wire to lash down the body hackle. We need 2 turns. And those 2 turns will lock the body hackle stem. Then we wind forward in open turns. And we need to make the wire saw back and forth from side to side as we wind, so that we trap as few body hackle fibers as possible. A little bit of an issue here with those fibers where the hackle was spinning on me. Oh, go back and lift those clear, wind through, there we go. People often worry about winding through a hackle, but all it really does is just redistribute the fibers. If you use this motion, you shouldn't trap too many. Okay, that's the wire rib. We're going to tie that off. In come the fine point scissors, nice and sharp. Snip off the wire. Snip off the stem of the body hackle. Couple of turns to tidy up. Okay, now we're ready for the head hackle. The head hackle comes from a neck hackle feather. You want a bit more stiffness. This is a nice grizzle, black and white. The grizzle colour does actually improve the visibility of this fly. Now you'll notice here I'm taking quite a lot of turns to lock the hackle stem in place. Just twisting the hackle stem there to make the hackle sit right. Don't worry about these turns. I'm going to backwind shortly, and that will reduce the bulk. Here come the hackle pliers. Catch hold of the end of the hackle and wind. Want 3 full turns. We want this fly to make a bit of a fuss as it comes through the water surface. I think that's one of the big attractions of the fly to the trout. Okay, so there's our 3 full turns. Now we're back winding. We're actually taking turns of thread off here, off the stem of the hackle. Not too many, of course, otherwise suddenly your hackle comes off. And now we're putting turns back on. We're tying off the hackle tip and binding the stem back down as well. Attach the hackle pliers. Now when we're cutting off here, we're cutting off both the hackle tip and the hackle stem. Like so. Brush a few fibers back. We're going to finish off by building up the head and making a whip finish all in one. This will make the head of the fly as small as possible. There we are. Pull tight. Snap it off. I have one stray fibre there. Oh, can't pluck it off. I'll just give it a quick snip. There we go. And that's the fly complete. Now, make sure it doesn't unwrap on me. Little dab of Sally Hansen hard as nails at the head and also at the rear. Just brush away some of the excess varnish. And there it is, the Red Death. Excellent fly, tried and tested. Makes an excellent fly for sedge hatches. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.